Hey guys, how's it going? In this video, we're going to be doing a in-depth breakdown on the actual helmet cam footage from Copperhead, okay? The reason for this video is one really big thing you can get out of going to these airsoft events is, yes, running around using your kit. How did it work out for you? What broke? What failed? What equipment was comfortable? What equipment was working for you versus against you? All that stuff is really good data points. But one thing that's really crucial for people is, how did the planning work? How was the teamwork? How was the communication? What are some SOPs and TTPs that need to be developed that if you were prior military, maybe you're rusty on, because I know there's a lot that I was rusty on, or if you're just a civilian who wants to learn some of this stuff, what are some things that can help you get a lot better at communicating decisively? So that's what we're going to dive into in this video. I'll keep the intro short because it's going to be a hefty video anyway. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay guys, so basically what we're working with here is on my main monitor over here, I have the GoPro footage. What I've done is I've gone through and kind of chopped up some of the areas that I wanted to talk about, fill you guys in on what's going. And then the bottom right hand of your screen, which is my second monitor, is actually a map of the training facility. And this is kind of roughly what we were dealing with. So this first part, I've got everything set up for you guys, and I'll get to where we're at in a second. But basically, just to orientate, this is the first critique you guys are going to see throughout this. And it's ironic because I was the one that told everyone, hey, make sure you know your cardinal directions. We were in this parking lot. This is where everyone parks. And we called out our cardinal directions. And then when we moved, it was actually in a different position than what I thought it was. So it kind of messed with everybody. When we were standing here, I think everyone was tracking that they thought the field was out here, and it wasn't. It was actually more over here. So the first critique that I'm just going to get out of the way, and I'll mention again, but it's just cardinal directions. They're so important for everything that's going on. If you don't understand them or you get them mixed up, that's one thing, piece of kit I'm going to add to the next one, is having a compass is so crucial. Okay, so from the parking lot, we kind of headed out here, walked over, and we actually went up this street, and our spawn was actually not right there. Our spawn was over here. So that's the first correction I have to make. Not that that makes a big difference, but this is where we spawned. From spawn, when the game started, we moved over here. Now, just to understand the initial plan was we had Pequeño Street, Chaparral, and then Chola. And the initial plan was to put like 3 or 4 different squads on those. So we were tasked with Chaparral Street, with basically coming up here and trying to bound through these buildings. I want to say their spawn was probably somewhere right in here, a lot closer than we anticipated. I'd have to look to know. So we moved here, and actually where you're gonna, I'll start playing this footage where we pick up, and I'll kind of move these positions. But basically, the building that we're near is this building right here, which is building 1. Okay, yeah, so as I'm calling those out, this is us standing literally right here on this green dot. And I'm just trying to generate some situational awareness with what's going on with the guys around me.
They're saying is not clear. Let's move back to Eric real quick first.
Now, initially when I was talking about this one, building 2 was this building up here.
They're saying that they almost got that second building?
I was talking about this building up here. And obviously these are the weeds right here that you're seeing to the 12 o'clock. Those are the weeds right here. And one thing that's kind of important to note on this, guys, while we're doing this is we were really...
You guys are in position in building 2, we can push to you?
We're trying to establish where they're at. But one thing you'll notice about these airsoft events, if you go for training, is to our right over on this building right here, there was so many people stacked up. And there actually ended up being Lucas and Drew and 1 or 2 other people that were stacked on this wall. You'll see there was like 8 of them stacked on that wall. And so we ended up just staying put because there's not much, I mean, they had enough people up there. So that's one thing that in airsoft, a lot of people don't want to do that because they just want to run in and get into the fight, which I totally understand. But the reality is, the reason we were kind of playing it low and slow here is because we didn't really think there was much of a need for us. So now we moved around to here. That's we're talking in the driveway. And then we had a real world ceasefire. Someone over there lost their iPro or something like that. So we fast forward. Now I've moved over to like basically this bush. I don't think you can even see it in the satellite. But I'm chilling in this bush over here, right? And what we're trying to see is I'm trying to get eyes on these dudes. I think I left Josh and Christian at the corner of this building watching over this direction. And we started to see some enemy like moving in this area right here. So we were just there was supposed to be another squad that was over here, and I honestly don't know where they're at. You'll hear me talk about it. But we were just trying to monitor what was going on. I wasn't really fond of getting in a battle out here in the field because these houses are about 150 feet apart, so it's kind of that maximum range with the airsoft. So we're just kind of hanging out, trying to see what we can see. You can see all those dudes up there to my 12 o'clocker stacked on there. Those are friendlies. They end up getting blown up. This guy's calling out, watch your left. Again, that would have been north. Would have been a better, us start saying, hey, that's north. So Eric's letting them know, hey, you need to watch left. They're going to start pushing you from over there. I think they had someone over there. I think there was already someone in this AO, and that's why they didn't care as much.
Hey, do we have guys over there?
So that's what I'm trying to figure out, if we had guys over there. Okay, so now this situation right here, I've now moved, obviously time skipped. I'm now moving and I'm crossing this road right here. So this road, this is the cross, and I actually end up over here. And you'll see the reason was we had again, we're kind of in reserve, but we had what I would call pretty much a mass cal. There's some medics over here, but there's a lot of dead rags. So I determined, hey, we could come over here and start helping these guys. Let's do what we can. So I try and say, hey, whoever's priority, that helps us kind of get people moving and grooving. Enemy was starting to move onto this house at that point. So just trying to establish where folks are at. We're working on medding people right here.
Behind this building?
Josh is doing a really good job of pulling security for us and has that corner. I'm just trying to monitor. Now, this is a big thing that happens in airsoft. You see that guy step out literally off Josh's shoulder.
These guys out here.
That's just part of airsoft, man. People don't care as much for their sectors of fire, and everyone's standing around, wants to do something, So about where I'm at, pieing out wide on Josh is like kind of acceptable. He falls back because he can feel about 16 people holding that angle.
Christian, let me know once you get those guys up. We're going to bound back. Hey, Josh, you ready? Let's go back.
At this point, I kind of circle around back here.
Right here. You ready, Christian?
Tell Christian, hey, they've got another medic. They're good. We cross the road back to here. I just didn't want to be around. We got them basically back to where they were combat effective, and I was good to go. So Eric's chilling up here. We kind of wait. I end up going back up here in a second with Eric on the side of the house just to monitor what's going on.
He's up front.
You're going to notice a lot of these situations, I try and be in areas where there's not a lot of people flooding in one area. Just because those are generally areas that people have got it, they've got it handled. They don't need 17 of the same people. So Eric actually ends up starting to fight some dudes right about here. Yeah, they were just using this tall grass and stuff to try and sneak up. And then I'm letting Josh and Christian know, hey, be on this side, watch this so we don't get hit from that direction as well. From where we were just medicing people.
You're out.
I should have jumped up a little bit quicker to cover him. I was kind of slow to it. That's one critique.
Roger that.
Getting some radio traffic. I'm not sure exactly what it was.
Yeah, we should fall back to the corner of the building. I think so.
And anytime you're in a position like this, I have to be very, very, very aware of the fact that he might pop up in front of my sector of fire.
Got a bunch of dead guys to our far left, too. We were up at the house up there, and everyone just died. Yeah.
I think it was a nade that Chad was telling us it was a nade.
What?
Down back behind them?
Yeah, so Eric comes up with the idea to bound back behind and start working these houses over here to our left. to reinforce what's going on at Pequeno, which is a really good call because we honestly had a lot of dudes center up this street.
This is the problem with having airsoft rifles, man. They don't reach.
Yeah, that is one limitation. All right, so now what we've done is we kind of ended up moving backwards like this and then going into this building, and I'm actually sitting on this building right about here on this window. What was really good about this with this guy is I'm coordinating. He was sitting and he was kind of watching back towards where we were going. We had friendlies still on what was building 1. But I was just telling him, hey, because the enemy was still kind of pushing up in this area. I get eyes on him right about here. And so I was just telling that guy, hey, watch this direction. And then I was watching, you know, this hard angle so that someone didn't just run up on the side of the building and smoke us through the window. So that's kind of what I'm communicating with him about.
You just keep an eye on that building. Let me know if they're pushing out. We need to shoot at them.
Yeah, we have our squad's in the corner of the building.
Yeah, they're still holding that. It's basically them against each other, right?
Yeah.
Let's move to this.
Okay, so now I believe this is outside this building. This is building 2, and we're in the front kind of this way. We're going to move up and around to here, and then you're going to see me jump into this building 3. And we'll spend some time in this building. This is us just trying to move forward, find holes, you know, plug those holes, get a good situational awareness of what's going on. I'll call out a sniper over here, and there's kind of a big area that we can't get past because of that sniper.
Well, sniper on the roof over there, out of range.
So that sniper was right on this roof right here, which from that corner
Out to the right side over here that
was almost 300 feet. So you can tell that, yeah, it was definitely out there. Nothing that I was going to engage, and that is one big downside to airsoft. So, you know, these guys start moving. You know, I'm just trying to not be where there's like 17 people.
What's up? We could. Is there another exit on the other side of the building?
There's 2 doors, but
2 doors? Okay. Alright, let's just go up to them. Hey Josh, we're just gonna move up to the next building.
So you'll see here, I run around the side. We tell these guys to move out of the doorway so we can come in.
Hang on. Hey, let us come in. Move out. Coming in.
So we link back up with our dudes, which are doing a good job of pulling security and kind of watching all directions, trying to see what's going on. This is the first time I've had a chance to like really be in one of these houses. So I'm just checking if the floor plans are pretty much all exactly the same.
Why does it smell like poop in this house?
So basically what's happening here is there's just a big area where we can't, the only place that's like feasible for us to engage is basically there's some people out in this field. The only feasible engagement we have going on right now is from this window to here, which is like 173 feet. That's really about the only reasonable engagement we have.
careful, Josh, turn on window.
How's that technical doing up there? Is it doing okay?
Moving slow. They're still shooting from it.
Goose. Hey, keep them covered.
So a big thing that I was trying to do is because there was, you know, because we had a medic and we were kind of not immediately in it and there was no need for us to be immediately in it, it's trying to get our medic doing a lot as much as it could. Now that's kind of just a game, part of the game, but, you know, trying to make good use of our medic.
You're not wrong.
Kenny does a really good job here of checking in with everybody and kind of getting a individual report of like, hey, is everyone good on ammo? I have 2 extras if someone needs them. So he does a real good job of just saying like, hey, does anyone need magazines? Are we good? How's everyone doing? So kudos to Kenny on doing that. That's good stuff.
Get him, Kenny. Get him with that. Let him have it.
I'm just trying to like use the glass here a little bit to give him multiple targets. Josh does a good job dropping down. They end up laying into a guy here, and I don't know if he could feel it or not.
walking that way, you might get a hit. Oh, he knows. Watch your cover. Watch your cover.
How did that guy not go down? Are you shooting at the building or?
I really gotta say, I feel like you shot the fuck out of that dude.
He absolutely did shoot the fuck out of that dude.
This is the only way you get across right now. Yeah.
So what we kind of realize is there's a lot of us standing around, and I kind of see
How close is that building?
a technical starts to pull up. And basically what I'm asking here is how close is this building? And this leads me to the first point, right? You're going to hear this throughout the thing, and I have to critique it because, you know, as much as I'd like to say I'm not rusty at some of this stuff, I absolutely am. So you're going to hear a lot of, I'm right here, I'm over there, or I right there, or this or that. What really needs to happen is, and especially I'm going to focus on this one in the next event, is Cardinal Directions. What I was asking when I said, how far is that building that's behind us? I should have said that northern building, how far is it? That building to our north, how far away is it? And I was talking about this building right here. Was what I meant was what was on the other side out this area. It's just an open field. So again, I will be the first to admit it. I was confused about Cardinal Direction when we hit the ground because the map didn't play out the way that I thought it did. And I even mentioned that to everyone. So, you know, it's just something sometimes you get out there, and I knew it in the back of my head when we hit the field. I was like, I'm kind of confused about which way north is and how this, you know, and it would have just taken a little bit more time to study the map and pay attention, pick out some landmarks. So that question right there is very general and very, it's not horrible, but it's not a very good question. Kenny's mag was broken, I guess. So now what we're doing is we're kind of looking, this is that back window here, and I'm just eyeballing this building across because we're starting to have a lot more people kind of in the middle of the road right here. So I'm thinking maybe, you know, there's a lot of us here. Maybe we can get up to that blue house, building number 4, and be able to help and do something there.
Hey, Eric.
So I'm trying to get people to do it with me. So I get Kenny and I get Michael come with me, and Josh comes with me as well.
What is that, smoke? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, smoke made if you can. Are they on the corner of that building?
On the back side, yeah.
On the on this left side?
I would just say take a 2-step, you know, step at the technical, and then assess it from there and push on.
Okay. All these dudes are dead?
Shooting through the window. Yeah.
We got one of our guys on the corner though, right?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to identify what's going on. These guys have been watching it, so obviously I'm trying to help identify what the heck is going on.
Are they just moving it up?
You got one in here on the left-hand side in a closet, okay? Grenades will not do it.
That guy actually made a really, really good call out there in here on the left-hand side, and we were getting ready to pie it off and do everything, and the nade went off literally right behind us.
What are you doing? You said in here on the left
Oh, that was like right there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The medic goes ahead and gets us back up, which is nice. I start working this just to make sure they're not pushing. Get Josh back up. In these events, I don't think they want people using tourniquets technically. All of us know how to apply tourniquets, so we're not going to hurt anyone. But we also tried to get the little ace bandages, and they were sold out of them. We didn't have any, so we didn't. Something that we will fix next time and use the ace bandages like they actually wanted us to.
Is there one still in this room?
No. He's not in the room. There's a hallway.
There's a hallway.
That this room goes into a bathroom.
Okay.
Here, with what he's saying, I should have taken more time to pause and listen to what the dude was actually saying. I had a feeling this guy, it's real dark, he's going to appear right in here. And we end up trading, because he calls hit, I call hit. So we end up trading with each other, which, you know, that was the one that's right here on the cheek. It actually didn't hurt as bad as I thought it was going to hurt. So I'm not sure what happened to Michael, so I kind of pie that window. That guy's got it. I'm just trying to maintain security here and make sure that we're not getting pushed. Michael comes out with a good, he signals with a VS-17 panel, which is really, really good, letting us know that it's clear and good. I immediately start signaling to my guys back at building 4 over here that we're good and clear.
Was that you shot on the window right there? That was a good shot, bro. I like peeked and I saw you come out. I was like, oh shit, it was right in my face. Good shit.
Just letting that guy, I always try and be cool when someone gets a good shot, you know, let him know, be nice.
This building up here to the
I like the training value behind this, but you don't have to be an asshole, you know? So at this point, we knew we had a bunch of enemies out here in this field congregating, and you'll see Kenny died out in front, right in the area. I'm trying to tell Lucas and all the guys behind us that this building is now taken. I sent that. That is one inefficiency I will call out. That was not solely on me, but communications. I found several times where I had to repeat myself, and I don't know if that was their radios going poorly, but I would say, hey, come up to this building up here on the left. Again, I should have said, hey, come up to this building northwest of you guys. We're going to mark with a VS-17, or I'm going to come wave at you, whatever. I ended up saying I'll wave at you for the entrance, which was good. And then it was like, wait, that building up there is clear? Yes, Roger, the building up here, or the building on the left side of the street is clear. So we can move up to it. That building's clear. And it was just like repeating the same thing. So you heard a little bit of agitation in my voice there. It happens, but that was definitely communications wise. I don't know if I know people had issues with their headsets, so it could have definitely been something along those lines.
Window half open, you guys can move to me and I'll be there for you.
So I started making good calls, left side of the road. Again, west side of the road would have been better, but left side of the road with the window half open, wave at them, make eye contact, make sure they see me, go back to the front of the house to start engaging all the dudes out here in this field. Engaging someone right in this area, I think maybe right around here.
He's got this back in main pack? Yeah. Where was it? Okay.
He does a good job of taking over my sector of fire.
Good clear, man.
I was actually impressed.
Clear, I'm like, well, that fucker's died everywhere. Kenny, are you good? Or are you down?
That was kind of a dumb question. I don't know why.
The sniper, yeah, because no one can reach him.
I think
That shit's stupid.
the one issue that you guys will run into in these events is this whole time this sniper was chilling right here, and he is 300 feet. So for him, it's pretty doable to engage out to here, but for us, that's not going to happen just because the FPS of the guns. So that is one area that to me is a big limitation, that snipers can reach out and shoot that far. I'm not a huge fan.
Medic. I was telling Christian to move over here because they need a medic. Eric, where are you guys at? Roger that. Be mindful of the front building. You're going to want to come around through the back and through the open window that I waved at you guys at. I'm looking right at you. You're going to want to go to the back side of the building.
Again, these communications could have been a little bit clearer. Hey, Eric, I am to the northwest of your position in that building, the building on the bend of Pequeño, before the open field, whatever. There's better ways that I could have described it. But anyway, we end up getting it to go there. That's just one area, communication. It's definitely a skill that people get rusty on, and I was rusty on it.
Hey, right in here, Eric. Go nice and slow. We're good.
Okay, just so you know, there's...
I also think filming this stuff is... So this is another one. Hey, just so you know, there's somebody over there on this rooftop sniping. I thought he was talking about this rooftop. So I thought he was telling me that there were people here. He was actually talking about this sniper way over here. So again, a good call out would have been northeast. On the northeast, northeast from us right here, about 100 so meters. There's a sniper on top of a roof. So, no worries. Everyone's, that's a big thing that's going to be a huge improvement for the next airsoft event.
On that building where we were originally at? I don't see it.
So you can see that I'm trying to say, like, wait, the building that we were originally at, or is this a new building that we haven't been to? He was actually talking about this building right here.
Hey, Eric, we're going to push out there to the technical and try and med these guys. All right, Christian. All right, I'm going to cover you. We're going to go out to that vehicle, and you're going to fucking med that dude.
So we had a bunch of guys that were out front right here that were all down with the technical. We were going to help kind of med them up and get them up. What we didn't realize is we should have checked to realize that they had died twice already.
Make it see it. Let it breathe.
So I tell them right there, hey, let it breathe, because I'm opening that door. So someone's eye could be attracted right to it, so it's just kind of something I like to do, is just give it a second to have the door open so that they maybe think like, oh, someone's not running right out of there.
All right, go.
You can see Tan over there. So obviously we've moved right here.
I'm hit.
The big area that I make a mistake is there's actually a guy right over here somewhere, I think, in the bushes. And this is another thing that I will say about airsoft that kind of drives me nuts is the bushes, like there was a bunch of people over in this area that I could see, but airsoft doesn't push through bushes the way that a bullet does. So they tend to get away with using bushes and stuff as actual cover. That is one thing, like that was a big reason why I didn't want to push across this. I'm just not in the mood to do some like run through a field and shoot at each other type thing. It just never plays out well. So yeah.
I like this. Look at that.
Okay, so this is us just kind of coming back to where we're headed. We're getting brought back out to our spawn.
He can say that.
We heard that over here in this market, there was a lot of fun kind of closer quarters type stuff. So that's where we plan on going is to the actual market.
Yep, you're red. Lincoln red, bro.
We found out that Lucas had never worn a mouth guard ever.
There's no way to sound manly when you're talking with one of these.
Hey, come here.
Hey, come here, you son of a bitch. Sounds like you got marbles in your mouth.
Just have one on the top or the bottom too?
Top.
That's it? Why?
Because you're not gonna chip this.
Why not?
Your fucking lips covering it?
I was homeschooled, okay? Shut up.
Have you ever worn a mouth guard?
No, never.
No.
So this is us now patrolling right here. We're headed towards the market. Something pretty interesting happens here. I don't know what the heck. It's us. So that was some sort of marking, tagging round that came from way the heck over here, and I have no idea who it was, what's going on. Might have been someone trying to screw with us. Who knows? Either way,
From over there.
Christian said that really, really, really hurt, and it looked like it did.
Yeah.
So notice one thing, I immediately check on him. Just people are like, but time can be of the essence when you're dealing with something like if that was really a gnarly wound or had like started bleeding or something, you know, not that it would, but it's just a good habit like to get eyes on whatever it is, you know. Lots of times people will be like, and then, you know, if you can give them that reassurance of like, dude, you're okay, no worries, like you're fine, it's not bleeding, that helps a lot. So this is us now moving up. I want to say on the corner of this building. It's either this one or this one.
Yeah, no one's shouting him.
So Michael does a good job of calling out a staggered column, and everyone did a pretty good job of knowing what a staggered column is. So we end up just starting to patrol up this little area right here. Just able to pie off some of the houses. I did make one note that when we're staggered column and we're moving in the open like this, everyone's sectors should be out to their right. And then when you get to the front here, the two people in front, their sectors should be like converging on each other. And then the guys in the back can kind of be like monitoring what's going on. You're going to see me bump out and around to clear, you know, help him to where I can clear this compound and kind of have the angle for him while he watches my left. So I kind of try and pick up what he can't see, which is back here.
Bump pass.
I just tell him to keep going past me. So we end up getting up to this little intersection right here. And they had taken the market. This is a big area where communication kind of, again, not to give anyone a hard time, but this is a big area where communication, or I got a little bit frustrated with it, was we stood by, we're kind of waiting. We've got a bunch of our dudes congregating up there, but not everybody needs to be in the conversation, right? So we sit back and it was me, Kenny, Eric, and like someone else, I think. We kind of sit back and we just wait. Hey, you know, they're coordinating with somebody, they're figuring out what they want to do. Let's, you know, chill for a second. So what ended up happening there is they kind of just took off without telling us, and it made it a little bit more difficult. I moved up through this alleyway for a little bit, and then I kind of moved back, and then we moved right where you're seeing right here is this corner. And Josh and Lucas were in this building somehow. I don't know if they went out and around and then through here. I'm not exactly sure. But there was just a communication error there. Whenever a team gets ready to move, they need to make sure that information is disseminated properly. These are good events to practice that stuff with. Just like you're testing out your kit, you should test out the ability to communicate and disseminate information. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to put someone in charge, but somebody does kind of need to be the person that's dictating the movement, not because they're better or anything like that, but just because that, if you have a squad leader, that squad leader says, okay, we're going to do this to his 2 team leaders. And then those 2 team leaders go back to their ATLs or to their, prospective 3 other people in their team. That team leader will tell at a minimum, at least one of them. And that person knows that it's his job to make sure everybody else knows as well. Generally, they're just going to brief them up. But any information that you get, you generally don't want to just take that information. Like, this is a good rule of thumb. If somebody gives you, hey, we're doing this or X, Y, and Z, that leader or person that's doing that thing has a lot more on their plate. So it's your job to take that information and try and disseminate it and pass it back. We do the exact same thing with hand signals. If you signal to go into a wedge, you need to look back and make sure that you at least tell one person, and I would even say it's better to tell 2. Tell as many people as you can without it being a distraction from what you're actually going to do. So we're sitting on this corner right here, and we end up thinking we have some people kind of moving around in the weeds out here. We end up thinking possibly there's some people in this area right here. So we don't really have any real solid positive indication. So we take a short pause here, but somebody was launching airburst 40 mics. We had one hit very close to us over here, and we were kind of like, hey, we should probably, not hang out wherever we're going to hang out. We shouldn't hang out for long. So we kind of sit on this. You'll hear us go back and forth talking about what building. My intent was always, I said, we should push this building right here. This is there was a bunch of people kind of in here, and I said, if we want to push to a building, we should push to this building right here. It's the shortest distance that we can cross this kind of linear danger area here. The way that we cross this danger area, I don't think it's definitely not textbook. It ended up being okay, but if someone had a light machine gun, it would have been a lot of stuff to eat. So I think it would have been better to bump the first person across, have them kind of hit. But there's also the argument to be made that we didn't know what was in this house. So if you send one person running across and then there's a fire team in there, they're screwed. So, we sent about 4 people, kind of sporadically across, and you'll get to see what that looks like.
What house did you have? Want to try and take that?
Luke and Michael just took a building.
Yeah, they're right on the other side as well.
You want to make
Yeah, let's just walk up to it. I mean, if there's people in it, they're going to hit us.
So my first initial idea was, okay, these guys over here, we're not really taking contact, and we have friendlies here, so hopefully they're dealing with them. So I was thinking we could just kind of walk up to this building, guns up, ready to go, and then if we take contact, just start laying into it. Just trying to feel out where people are at. So that was kind of my first, we don't really need to sprint. Then when we started seeing people out here, I said, okay, we're going to have to sprint up to this building.
We just can't sit here because I think...
The reason I didn't want to sprint is because it generally means that people pace out and people lose. It's hard to slow back down. They either come to a complete stop or they slow down way too much, or they just keep going fast. And I have some critiques about that here shortly.
Like air bursting 40 mic like crazy.
This building right here is where they are?
They're right on the other side of the wall.
Okay. Let's just let them know friendlies are coming in.
So right here, I think Josh thought that the idea was that we were going to go to their building, and I just didn't want to do that. I didn't think it was an advantageous position.
Let's take that. You guys want to take that building? 12 o'clock?
We gotta tell them first.
Lucas, where are you?
They weren't really working on comms the whole time, so
Lucas, are you dead?
I had already talked to him and let him know that we were on the backside of this.
This close one?
Yeah. Anybody in that close one?
Okay, which one? What are you talking about?
This is the closest building, right?
I don't know. Maybe.
So right here, and honestly, I kind of sound like an asshole. I could have handled this a lot better. I was noticing that we have several buildings, and also Josh was talking about this building to our right. So when he said, hey, this closest building, I was kind of like, I don't know which one that means. But to be fair, I was messing up on a lot of the callouts that I had. So you know, both of us should have said, like, if he was trying to describe that building, it would have been good to go, hey, north, that building to our north, about, 50 meters, with the big spiky tree in front of it. Do you see that? Yeah, I got it. Okay. Do we know if anyone's in that? What will end up happening is you go through these loops of where two people are trying to describe things to each other, and you kind of need to establish common ground and be like, do you know the building I'm talking about? So compasses, next time, I am going to have a compass with me for the simple reason that you can take that compass out, shoot an azimuth, and go, do you see that building at 200, at 220? That building right there, I want to take that building. And that really narrows things down for people. But yeah, you kind of have to lead people step by step. You see that building to our 12 o'clock, 50 meters. Yes, I see that one. It's got the brown tree. Yep, I got it. Okay, cool. So do we know if anyone's in that building, right? So when there's something kind of complex that you're trying to explain, the more detailed you can be is good, but you also have to make sure that people are tracking what you're saying while you're saying it.
Okay.
Is this one clear?
We don't know.
What I was asking.
Cool. All right, let's push to that.
And I was just kind of saying, hey, we don't know. I'd been just talking to Kenny about that. I didn't realize maybe Drew rolled up afterwards. So yeah. And we were a little bit salty about the communications error of just like moving off and not talking to the rest of the team. So that was not as bad of a call out that Drew was making as I was making it seem. But yeah, everyone across the board, I'm rusty at it. Everyone needed to get better at using Cardinal Directions. You barely hear any Cardinal Directions this whole time.
Lucas isn't answering comms, so.
Okay, we got.
What?
We have 10 in this field shooting at us.
What? Yeah, you can come, Lucas. You can come back here if you want to.
There's 10 right here shooting now.
Yeah, we gotta go. Let's just
So
go.
Drew made a good call out that there's 10 out here in that field.
That door, that building.
I basically make the decision that instead of standing here and waiting for a nade to land on all of us, that we need to pick a direction and move.
There's a guy shooting straight out the door right here. We're gonna outrun him.
So once we knew we were under fire, like that there's a potential of getting shot when we cross this LDA, speed became our security. So they did a good job. Like Drew does a really good job of offsetting here and getting far enough back to where hopefully he'll get to a full sprint. We didn't send everyone from the exact same line. They kind of staggered. And I decided, you know what? It wouldn't be a bad idea to have a nade go over the wall. Just, I asked Kenny, how far out are they?
How far out are they, Kenny?
He gives me about 50 meters and I go, okay, I can get a nade close to that. So I check a nade, I kind of wait, and I move. You could just barely catch Lucas and I forget who Lucas was with. Lucas and Michael, maybe. All right, so as we move into here, there's going to be a lot of critiques I have. Remember I said about that speed, like it's kind of hard to regulate speed. When we sprint across a building like this, it's good that they kind of slowed it down, but having this many people in the garage, they needed to make entry into an area where more people were concealed, where you're not leaving people on the outside. This guy right here, he was not one of our crew. He doesn't really know what he's doing. Obviously, he's a cameraman. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. So now we've moved across and we're working on this house. We end up what I think is having enemy in that house. You'll see. What I'm thinking is either that house or this house. You'll see something come flying over my shoulder here shortly.
Out front, you're good. Keep pushing. Nate, they're shooting us.
So I call nade. They're behind us. Josh does a good job of saying, hey, behind us. Again, a better call out would have been, northwest direction generally, right? If you can get it or get eyes on him, is call out a cardinal direction. And none of us did that. So.
Get inside. You gotta go.
So the reason I'm telling everybody they've got to get inside is because they have an angle to shoot at us from here, and they just launched what was like a 40 mic or something. And so I was anticipating whatever just flew over my shoulder and blew up. I was anticipating the next one to land in the garage because that's what I would do if I was them. So that's why I kind of say, hey, we need to push into this house and secure this house. Now, keep in mind, we still don't know. There might be people in this house, right? And this is a really big kind of area where I have a little bit of a critique on myself and then the team as well. So Drew does a really, really good job of having good cover, having an angle over here, which is great. But once we enter this building, we need to clear what's left of it, right? So there's two mistakes here. One mistake is not having the rest of the team flow in and clear the structure and then breathe and take a you can't even look outward until you've dealt with the inside of the building. So we really needed, like, the team should have just flown through here and cleared it out to be positive that it was empty. And then when I moved, I fully knew that there was no one with me. Fully knew that there was nobody with me besides Charles, and that was a mistake. I should have stopped, and I should have asked for a guy to get on me. It was right about when I popped this door that I realized nobody was with me. Not a bad opportunity to do some one-man CQB, but one-man CQB is super low percentage and not good. Now I'm starting to look back where we just came from, see what we've got, just making sure nobody's hiding in here. Trying to get some random kind of secret kills. Okay, now I'm back in the main living area of the house. I was letting this dude know, hey, this back bedroom, there's a solid angle out towards any enemy that would be out in this field over here. So anyone that was out in this field, that back bedroom had a good angle on them. This is me pie in the kitchen, just trying to pull security, make sure we're not getting snuck up on. So this is one critique I have with just use of radios. Yelling is never a bad thing, especially if you're shooting and you're doing different things. But radios just, people need to be able to get in that habit of like hitting that radio and being like, hey, Josh, come to the garage, and little things like that. So just use of comms, but it was tough because a lot of their comms weren't working. So to be fair, we had the radios that I was using, the Baofangs with I have a cheap headset. So Chinese stuff usually works with Chinese stuff, as bad as that is. But it just is what it is. So our comms were working really, really well. There were some other folks that, some of the other T-Rex dudes were having issues with their comms. So I think Drew's and Josh's tended to work the whole time though. So Christian, I have to hand it to Christian. He did a really good job of plugging holes. When there was a hole, he would look for it and plug it. He was totally fine with it. He was pulling rear security here, doing a really good job. I'm just kind of rotating, checking angles, moving around areas where people are not in engagements. I'm not trying to take anybody's engagements or, I'm solely looking for avenues of approach for the enemy. Now we go over to the garage. They're kind of in a little bit of a scuffle from the garage, and I want to say they were either shooting at this house right here or this house for enemies. All right, so we end up getting a nade. That nade ends up blowing up right in here, right in the front thing. And there's a couple things here that happen that I feel bad about, but are kind of the nature of airsoft. So I immediately start kind of pieing this corner off, right? And I'm like watching, I look back to see where my teammates are at, make sure, kind of check, is anyone taking this angle? So I start to, as I see when I peeked back right there, if you notice, right when I peeked back, let's see if I can get it to do it. Sorry. If I can get it to do this. So when I peek back, when I'm taking that shoulder or that angle on the garage here, what you'll notice is I look over my shoulder simply because I want to see that I'm not blocking anyone's angle right here. They're engaging out this way, and then the nade goes off. So he calls nade, and I immediately am like, oh, damn, okay. So I take this corner, and I'll do one. I start to pie, look at the angle. I actually look back over here to make sure that nobody over here has this angle. I'm looking at it to make sure I'm not stepping in someone's angle, taking their angle, right? So right as I start to go, I go. What I didn't realize is that right at that split second is when Drew turned around. Those rounds were cracking that, like, the door right in front of me. Drew actually ends up killing someone right there. So I see Drew right here taking that angle, and I back off of the door because he actually totally has the superior angle. Now, never mind that there's dudes, back over here that may or may not have been shooting at us, but he had a really tight, good angle through this door. So that was totally the first reason I looked over my shoulder, was to check his, to make sure that nobody had this angle and I wasn't going to step in front of the doorway and get shot. So he does a really good job. He kills, I think, one of the guys out the kitchen window that I was checking earlier. He pies off here and starts engaging a dude through the big window on the corner. This right here, in my opinion, was he should have signaled to somebody or let somebody know that he was about to dive into this room. I also don't really think there was a big reason to go into the room at that point. I think he could have just stayed in that garage and continued to kind of pie it off a little bit more and see if there was more people or if he killed 2 of them or what happened. So he didn't even realize. What I say right here is I say keep rear security, right? So Josh is totally doing his job. This guy's pointing his gun at the back of Drew. He's not with our crew. He's just hanging out with us. And I don't know who this was, but I was trying to get them to maybe kind of focus in on rear security again. Because for all we know, they could be flooding around. You know, they could have been here and someone could have hit here and come around and be ready to come in the side of the garage. So that's why I wanted rear security up. So Drew goes in. This kid kind of stops and hesitates, and it's because he sees that right there. I actually don't remember this nade going off. I really don't. I was so focused on the left side, I don't have any memory of this going off. And to be completely honest, it probably should have killed me. I probably should have called my hit. It's hard to tell. It blew up like right in here, how deep it blew up in the floor plan. Drew absolutely should have been dead. I don't think he even recognized or knew that it was there. So, it happens sometimes with nades. I might have registered it here, but I thought he died. I don't know if it's because of the nade that I thought he died or because of one of these guys that I thought Drew died. And so I engaged that guy. I think Drew killed him, and I got some hits on him. I try and hit that right there. And I decide to nade. And my initial plan for this grenade was to chuck it out that little slit of a window, which is a heck of a grenade and probably not the smartest grenade that I could have thrown. It ended up getting caught on my glove. I was trying to get it like in the kitchen sink, worst case, but it ended up being a horrible throw. So,
Look out! Bad nade.
so I call it bad nade, and then I see that Drew's still up.
You good, Drew?
Yeah, I'm good. You got some tape back here.
Okay.
So what I felt bad about this is the guy was actually referencing the first grenade that he threw, and I thought he was talking about the second one.
It bounced right behind
If you're watching, buddy, that was a totally super good grenade. It definitely killed Drew, and it probably should have killed me. Sorry. I just didn't realize. I didn't know where it was at. So this is another thing that started happening on this side of the building. I think there was an enemy force kind of harassing this side right here. They check a couple grenades in at me. I call it up on comms, hey, that we're over here. I should have, again, east side of the building, taking close contact, nades coming in. One of the guys was with me, did a good job, but this was a tough angle to hold by myself. So that was me radioing up, like, back of the building. We're taking, like, there's people coming in back of the building, which is not a horrible contact, but again, just depends. It doesn't sound like maybe it didn't go, maybe they didn't hear it on the radio. I'm not sure. I tell him to give me some space, so if I need to bail out, I can, which ends up being a good choice. The big reason I didn't want to spend too much time pieing this is because there was also an open window. So I'm kind of watching this angle right here, but there's an open window right here, and I was really concerned that someone was going to pie around and shoot me in the back right there. So that's why I didn't want to spend too much time just hanging out in that hallway. So I decided, maybe I'll get a nade on them, and they'll. I actually popped that corner too soon. I'm safe, but with a real grenade, I popped that corner way too soon. I should have waited for it to blow up. So little things like that you don't think about, but you should practice. Nade comes right in, and this just goes to say, like, when I told that kid, hey, make sure you give me room to bail out, there was a reason for that. Nades are really, really common, but even on top of that, like, I get in a fight, I need to bail out. I need room to get out of there. Well, he's good. He's around the corner. It didn't hit him. So we just kind of hang out there. He does a really good job. I don't know if that's Josh or Joe pulling security. I make another call out. So he confirms that there was one here. I take the more covered and concealed angle. I tell him, watch out, watch out. I have an angle because I'm going to be in a harder position to hit right here than he is trying to lean around that.
Watch behind us. There you go, good. Watch that.
He didn't need to creep quite as far over there. He could have backed off a little bit, but fine. I'm just telling Drew, hey, make sure you hold what you got. We don't need to move yet. I saw someone and barely, like, almost had a shot on him. Couldn't get a shot. They start nading there. Said they're pushing into the main living room.
Hey, Josh, we got people right up against our house on this side.
So this is a part where comms become very, very important. I was trying to let them know, hey, we got people like right up on us. Start using your radio. Stop talking so much. That's why radios are really, really useful, is because I can talk at a normal volume voice and be very clear and concise on what I'm saying without having to like jibber jabber back and forth. So yeah.
Hey.
Just changing angles.
We're moving.
I let this guy know, hey, we're moving. We're getting out of here. If you want to join us, you can. I'm not going to leave some dude behind.
That's the direction of movement you're looking, right?
Correct, we're going this way.
Okay. Drew, is that contact? Hey, Josh, you take contact. Let me know. I'm going to pull security here.
So what I asked right there, hey, Drew, is that contact, was over the radio because I heard something on the other side in that building. And I wasn't sure if those dudes pushed through or that he wandered in there. So I just started pulling security where I knew was clear, like basically up to the point that I knew I was clear. If I can't get a hold of a team, I just told Josh, hey, I got your, just hold what you got. I got the rear.
We should secure that window and then help someone.
So it ended up being that it wasn't. We all rallied up in the garage and decided we wanted to move.
Yeah.
So, because we come around the right side of that building, they're posted up.
So in other words,
So Drew's calling here. This is another area again. We did a good job of like using our hands. But again, this should have been the building to our west. And if everyone was on board with their cardinal directions, that was one area that we just kind of, you know, you can say, hey, the building to our, you know, directly outside to the west. You know, if you know where north is and you're keeping track of where north is, and you'd be like, hey, this building out to our west about 50 meters. I want to hit that building. It's right over here. You can use your hand signals. Has everyone got that? Yeah, we got it. Okay, cool. So if I was going to brief the plan that's about to be briefed, what I'd say, hey, this building out to our west, it's about 50 meters across that little open area. Everyone's know what I'm talking about right out there? Yeah, makes sense. Okay, cool. So here's our plan. I want to get to that building. I want to get to the, you know, east side of that building. And sometimes you can overuse cardinal directions. So you can say, yeah, to our west, I want to hit that wall, that side wall of the house. And what I want to do is I want to have guys pulling security left and pulling security to the right, right? And that's where you can start using left and rights because it makes sense. So we'll get to that side wall. On the right side of the building, I want to chuck a nade because I think there's guys on that northern wall of that building, right? So there's a balance of using too much and too little. But I think generally when you're hitting landmarks, once people know that landmark, then left and right tends to make more sense. So yeah, that building out to our west, about 50 meters, we're going to move. We're going to hit that wall. Once we hit that wall, I want to chuck a nade around the right side of the building. And then I want to make entry on the left side, the front side of the building. So that means we will be going in on the south side of the building. That's where we'll be making entry. Once you start talking that way, people start really, it paints a picture for them. And that's really, really important. And airsoft this is a great time to do stuff like that. So anyway, we'll listen in.
Right side of it, posted up on this side of our building.
okay.
So when we get up there, I'll need you to pull security left, you pull security right.
Okay.
I'm going to step behind you and throw this nade down the avenue.
So he does a really good job of saying, hey, when we get there, you're going to pull security left, you're going to pull security right.
We need everyone to follow me. Joe. So yeah,
Let me-
you stay with Josh. Hey, as soon as I bang around that corner, they're going to start freaking out.
I'll shoot 'em.
Start pieing on them, okay?
Okay. I've got right.
Okay, go right. I got left.
Okay.
You got left on him.
So, this is a classic miscommunication. Josh was thinking we were going out and button hooking left or right, maybe going across the street. I'm not really sure. But it's just, whenever there's an error in dissemination of information, you just have to try and break it down and go, hey, where could we have done better with this?
Right in front of us. You just moved this building. All right, the well-executed plan isn't going to happen right now. We got to move on.
We should probably stay inside this building now.
Okay, so because we saw maneuver, I was like, hey, we should probably just chill in here and get security because we are already taking contact and we're in an advantageous position for what's going on in general. We were kind of, they're all spawning up here to the northeast. So there was no big advantage, in my opinion, of moving to this building versus this building. So it's kind of like, oh, we could stay here. The only advantage was, hey, we want to get in a gunfight, right? Hey, we want to go out there and we want to play airsoft. So That's why I didn't really contest on it. It makes sense. I'm like, yeah, let's go look for a fight. And it ended up being really, really fun, so I'm not mad that we did it.
I don't want to do it fast and get it over with. There's people down the road.
Wait, is this tan right in front of us?
Yes.
So this is a good example of, you know, it happens, lapse in security, you get focused on an objective or a way you want to move, and someone shows up back here.
Dude.
These guys ended up taking a while to call their hits. We pretty much melted them right away, but...
Alright, let's make this happen, fellas.
Is that guy dead?
In this house, watch it. Guys, let's make this happen.
Is there someone behind us?
Alright, Drew, you got the nade?
Yeah, I'm not going to take it till we get up there.
Yeah.
On you, Josh. I'm third man out.
Sounds good. I'm stepping left. Ready?
Go.
I'm stepping left, right?
No, we're going right. You're watching the left side of this building on the right.
Okay. Yeah, we're guys agree. That's what I thought that.
Alright, ready? I'll take point.
Try it.
Let's go.
So obviously we moved out with a little bit of confusion in the plan, but honestly everyone did it like we headed to the right place. We knew what we were doing. So right about here, right? The plan was for us to move here. Once Drew threw that nade around that corner was for me to pie out around here and just see what was going on. And if it was clear, then we could enter in this left side and, you know, whatever. But that was as far as we had thought ahead. And that was kind of, in my opinion, not the best idea because we're setting ourselves up for stalling out in an open area. But, you know, it is what it is. You play different things. What ends up happening here, we'll talk about. So if you notice, I saw a green laser. And this was coming from right over here. I didn't know if those guys that had thrown those nades in that back window or what. I didn't know where they were at. And so when I turned to look after that green laser, you'll see I catch a red laser as well. So I'm like, okay, that's at least two people pointing their guns at me, and they're deliberately aiming at me. So that caused, I looked and I saw people aiming rifles at me. That was enough for me. I started engaging. I think those guys ended up being friendlies. And they were just that, I think one of those kids was the airsofter that was following us around that I said, hey, we're moving. You know, hey, don't point your gun at people if, you know, or wave and say friendly or green or something. That didn't happen. There was a split second there where I waited to kind of see, and I just saw rifles aimed at me. So I assumed it was the enemies.
Move, we gotta go.
So my thinking on this movement right here is we had three potential areas for contact. We zoom in here. So we're chilling right here on this wall. Drew has called out that he thinks that there's possible enemy around this side of the building. We've dealt with dudes moving in. It's not inconceivable to think if their spawn is over in this northeastern direction, that a team could have moved up right here, could have seen us sprinting across, and they're moving in cover concealment to start shooting us here. We're all in the open, stacked up on a high contrast background side of the building. We had just moved across this area right here, right? And when we moved across that area, we didn't take any contact from the left side, being the southwest side. We didn't take any contact. Now, generally south side. We didn't take any contact. So in this split second, when we start getting shot at from behind, I call out, hey, they're behind us. There's a couple things that probably textbook should have happened. People should have turned and shot immediately. If someone calls out contact, you know, look for a target, start engaging. I was the only one that engaged. Then after that, I say, hey, you hear me saying, move, 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 we got to go. I put a hand on who I believe was Charles and then Joe, two people. Drew actually had a nade in his hand and was prepping the nade to throw around the corner. So that brings up, he and I both talked about this, and that brings up an SOP detail, right? You probably should have an SOP for when you're pulling out something administrative, whether it's a sledgehammer, a grenade, you know, whatever it is. You don't just go off of your gun without letting somebody know, right? So that's a big SOP development thing there, is like, hey, if I'm going to pull out a nade or I'm going to pull out a, whatever, you got to let someone know when you're off of your gun. And we just hadn't established that. So, you know, again, those SOPs aren't going to exist even if you're an Army dude and you expect them to. You know, they're not necessarily going to exist. So if you're going to go to one of these events, take the time to develop these SOPs because it will help. So I make the decision that instead of stepping out here in the middle of what I see as a kill zone between two enemies, I kind of say, hey, we need to push into here. I'll take the area where I think it's less likely that there's contact and move around to the front of the house. That's what we're watching right now. So right about there, you hear that tick, 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 tick. That's me hearing rounds actually cracking over my shoulder from what I assumed was either this house or this house. Okay, so I knew I'm on a time crunch here, but when I pied that off, I saw movement in the kitchen. So I make a decision to hug this hard wall as much as I can. I push the door open, and I saw a shadow back there, so I just crank off some suppressive fire. Then I say, if we stall out here, now we have enemies generally to our south, because I can hear rounds and Joe will get hit here. Say, I don't have a choice. I can't do limited penetration here. I need to just move in and go. So I end up getting this guy right here, which is really, really good. And then I say, okay, well, the element of surprise is kind of gone. They know I'm here. So you'll see me actually utilize my white light because, you know, you can. It works. You notice I get this guy right away. For whatever reason, he was already calling his hit. I don't know if he just didn't want to get shot close or what. Or if someone, yeah, I'm not sure. If he was just reacting to seeing me white light, putting his hand up, I don't know. But I thought he was saying stop. He might have just been reacting to white light.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so I think I crank up some rounds on this guy, but I realized like, oh, dang, we're... and I also had... Josh was at cross coverage with me. So this was a failure on my part. I should have paused there for maybe 1/10 of a second and told him, you know, either told him, you go right, I got left, or whatever. Or taken my muzzle and given him that sector of fire. But what I ended up doing was thinking that he would see me diving that corner and then shoot in behind me to get my back. If I don't, generally my SOP is if I don't give someone a muzzle wag to throw them my sector of fire, then I look at them and I'm like, you know, I'm ready to go. They should kind of check up to let me know, like, hey, go ahead. And so anyway, it's just, again, it's no one person doing something wrong. It's different SOPs or SOPs that do not exist. And when I say SOPs, I mean standing operating procedures. So I go down here. They actually, if you hear him, he says, you shot me, asshole. And that is actually them setting up what we would call conflicting sectors of fire. So they had someone in this area of the house and someone in this area of the house. So when I stepped through and tried to shoot this guy to the left, they ended up shooting each other. I don't think the guy to my 12 o'clock actually hit me. I think it was the guy behind me because the hit was like on my back right shoulder. I still have a little mark from it. So conflicting sectors of fire on their part.
Sorry if I tagged you. My bad. That was a good corner, dude. I was like, oh shit. I almost didn't check it.
So that guy. So they thought that they were tan, you know, working with each other. And that finishes day one. So that was kind of what we had. You know, that situation was really tough. When I watched Drew's GoPro footage too. He ended up pieing around right side after everyone went left. And he had a little bit of, him and Josh had conflicting sectors of fire where they had to wave at each other. But what he did really, really well, as soon as he had that with Josh, he like turned back to the front corner of this building, the northwest side of the building. I guess it would be the west side of the building. And he kind of went around there, and I think he ended up killing one dude in the kitchen. He and I talked about it, and what would have been probably the best thing to do is if he didn't want to move around left with us, he could have just held right. And then if he wanted to, he could have slowly worked a pie out this direction. And there was a kitchen window he would have smoked a couple dudes from because they weren't paying attention to it. So, but, you know, hindsight's 20/20. And, you know, sometimes those calls get made and you might not necessarily agree with them. But a good rule of thumb, at least in my opinion, is whatever the team's doing, you need to try and do as well. Or you need to see how you can support the team. If he would have hung here, he would have been able to catch anyone squirting out the back, or he would have been able to hear what was going on and slowly pie around and get a couple kills there. He ended up, I think, getting one by pieing wide. I'm not exactly sure where he went after that, when that other airsoft kid went in there. So anyway, hindsight is always 20/20. I think that went pretty well for what it was, us getting kind of essentially surrounded and only losing one person and pushing in. Sometimes you just have to accept those risks, in my opinion. So yeah, Okay, so now we move into day 2, and again, we're just kind of getting to our spawn, deciding where we want to go. We make the decision that we want to just see what's going on this side on Lomitas, I guess. Lomitas? I don't know what the name of the street is. But we decide we're going to kind of push up there, so we get a cool ride inside of like a little truck. I'm actually using a nicer GoPro this time. This is the new GoPro with a better microphone on it.
See, they should have used this as a transport to hit houses. They should have used this as like an LMTV.
Yeah. Are we taking fire?
Sounds like it.
This could be a hard LC.
So, fast forward to here, we're actually on the corner of this building. Or no, I'm sorry. It is
So let's just walk up to them and
corner of this.
get a feel for where they're at.
We're just trying to figure out where people are at, what's going on.
Okay, yeah, Tan's about, all that smoke is near Tan. And Tan's in the market.
So we identified Tan owns the market. Now we're hitting here.
I think so, like 100 meters.
And basically what I'm trying to do here is that these guys have been out here playing. They kind of have a better idea of where maybe their guys died. You know.
Down, we had 2 guys get killed. There's a machine gun in the 2nd story.
Of the market?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can get closer, try and suppress them.
We've got a bunch of guys hooking through, but the 2 guys who have made that run so far haven't made it.
Is it at, right there, that blacked out window where that Tan dude's standing? Is that where the machine gun is?
And then there's guys on the 1st floor with that little table kind of sticking out.
Do you know if there's anyone in the compound right here?
We haven't had anyone making it from the back side unless they made it in the front side.
We have friendlies in this compound.
Oh, you know,
there's
one guy
friendlies
did
there?
hop the wall earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. There's at least one.
So then we move over here to this wall to hop right here.
Okay, I guess we can't go through the building.
This doesn't look very sketchy, but it was a little bit slippier and wetter than you might realize. My feet kind of just go. It's about like a,
The wood's
I don't
really
know.
slippery, so be careful.
You know, that's the height of your head. So yeah.
This is slickest spot.
Okay.
So you can actually try and just slide down it. I would.
Alright.
Hey. Got you. Just careful. Make sure you put upward pressure on that shit. This is slick. Shit.
You made that look easy.
You good? Just kind of surf down it. There you go.
Dude, that was sick.
Actually, pretty good. Okay, yeah, we were gonna.
Another point I want to make about gear, people that don't like adjustable slings, you'll notice how much I'm adjusting my sling depending on what we're doing. I love adjustable slings. I just want to put that out there.
We're just gonna run.
This guy asked us to kind of do something, maybe push out far right or something. I'm just like, hey, we're just trying to push up on him and get close to him.
Yeah, because if we can see what's out in the field.
Okay, Kenny, when you get up there, tell me if there's an avenue of approach that we could sprint across to get close.
So Kenny was pushing up, and I was kind of looking up here to see if there was a way that we could get through this, or a way that we could approach the market. And really, there's just a lot of dead space in between.
Gooseman!
Goose, we need a med. That 2nd story. All right, hey, we got a lot of us stacked up on this wall. Let's try to either get in the house.
So again, here's a big thing that's really good to practice in airsoft: how many people are stacked up on this wall and how close they are. That stuff should start giving you the heebie-jeebies of all of you just being stacked up and piled up in one area. So that's why I said, hey, we need to get off this wall. There's all this open space over here that we could be occupying, but all of us are stacked up right here. What tends to happen in airsoft is the mentality is they just look for something to shoot at, and everyone goes for that one thing. It's a very reactive version of like doing stuff rather than proactive. And trying to be proactive is, okay, seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people stacked on this wall, and just going, okay, no one's over here. So what's over here, right? They've got us covered on this right side. Let's start working left side, see what we can do.
House or the back side of the house?
So we ended up having one dude over here that's like trying to peek through the woods and see what's going on. The technical, this ends up being an enemy technical right here, and I get lit up. I mean, absolutely destroyed right there. So good for him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of like assist it. There you go.
That's this
Someone
guy
else
right
roll
here.
Security on that shit too.
Basically telling people, hey, somebody needs to be watching that direction.
We have a nade. We should throw it.
Yep, you got a nade?
Yeah, I know.
Technically, I should have been talking right there. Sorry, Airsoft World. Sometimes I'm new to the game, so I forget the rules. Then I start seeing people up on this horizon over here. So that's some of the enemies are like right in this area.
Come here.
I end up catching.
You
You'll,
can run across and get that dude up.
yeah, again, using him to try and med people as best we can.
Go, go, go.
Just when I see somebody down, I'm like, hey, let's get him back up.
Yeah, Roger, go ahead if you can. I'm having Christian med someone real quick. We'll stay on this side. You guys can keep assaulting through. Is that technical down?
So I want to say that Lucas and someone was on the northern side of the road again, but this is another area that Cardinal Directions would have been really, really nice. This is me just shooting at guys up here, trying to lob BBs at them.
Go ahead. All right, Josh, where you at? Is the middle of the street safe?
That it.
Oh, okay.
Alright, we need to get to him.
Yep, yeah. Push wide, but use this building. I'll cover you.
So when I said push wide and use this building, what I was meaning is, let's say this is him. We have all these people here. What I wanted him to do was not run directly to Drew, who was down. I wanted him to go as wide as he could go without exposing himself to all this over here to get to him, was what I meant by that. So I start trying to pie this off to see, you know, if I can get as much cover as I possibly can. I do not know where I took fire from. I don't know if it was someone from over here, but it looks like it came from behind me. So that actually could have been blue on blue. I'm not sure.
Hit it. I don't know where from, but
Yeah, go ahead.
Get Brody up here. There's no friendlies. Oh.
Move it, move it, move it.
So I end up here getting in a firefight. I move right here to this little crack. I end up catching some dude who's trying to move like right here. I'm fairly certain I hit him, but I don't know. It's kind of hard. And he was just playing peekaboo with me. So this is literally me firing, him trying to peek, and then me keeping his head. Somebody ran out in front of my sector of fire. I don't know if it was Tan. You know, as far as I'm concerned, this was as far forward as we had gone. But stuff like this is going to happen when you don't have coordination. And that's something to realize for civilians is when you don't have coordination and there's stuff going on and other units are maneuvering and you don't know where they're at in the space, that can cause issues.
I'm in the gate over here.
Okay, so that's one call out I really want to call out on myself, because when I was watching this footage, this is where I realized there's a horrible call out. I'm in the gate over here. What does that even fucking mean? I was talking about this gate right here. It wasn't the worst call out ever, but again, I'm on the south side of the compound engaging between a crack. I'm about 50 meters from the south gate. Much better call out. I was in the middle of doing something, so I get it. But those call outs right there, it's absolutely useless. That does nothing for anybody. Even if I would have said, hey, you know, the gate on the back side of the compound, it's a little bit better. Hey, that gate on the back side of the compound, you know, hey, that building that we first, you know, the building that we pushed up on. But again, Cardinal Directions. Hey, south side of the compound. What is the compound? Pretty much anything in here is the compound now. Anything with the walls around it. So I am in the southeast side of the compound, right? Even if I would have said south side, then they're going to understand I'm over here somewhere. Just want to call myself out for when I do bad comms.
Careful, he's through that crack. Hey, through this little crack, be careful. I've been shooting at him through that. There's Tan up there.
They're just trying to make sure my other dudes don't get shot.
You might have a better angle than I do. No, I'm dead.
Nade.
Yeah.
So that was game over right there. Then I believe we move back around to this street over here, Chola Street.
We have to keep left side security really well too, because.
And again, the reason I'm calling left side security is because their spawn was somewhere out here. So we moved into, I want to say this building? Or actually, sorry, that was this first one.
They're way the heck up there?
So they give us good detail on where they're at. I kind of handed the team leader-ish leading thing over to Michael, who's a Marine. Super squared away dude, and I was like, hey, I'll just work as your ATL or whatever and try and help.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so he made a good call of doing what's called recon by fire and
recon by fire.
letting these guys up to our 12 o'clock move
all the way
up.
up near the market. I think they're pinching them. You want to take that same route we did last night?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and cut around the wide left.
Go ahead.
So this is just getting some reps in on doing an LDA crossing. So I'm just bumping people. I'm bumping people across while pulling security. So someone's pulling false side security. You know, they've got left and right security there, and then I'm just bumping people across.
Kenny. Drew.
Then I switch my sector fire to here and here, right? So I'm dealing with a little bit more, but I'm trying to watch as much as I can. So that is a very solid LDA crossing. Not perfect, but, you know.
Should probably start making our way in this building. Last man, last man.
Let him know, hey, I'm the last dude to cross, so we're good to go. We've got everybody.
Reaching the house.
That type of movement right there, you really should practice. And then you're going to notice something right here where he relays to me like, hey, they're breaching the house. Right? So we're stacked on this wall.
We are?
They are.
They both.
And so I say, wait, we're breaching the
Both
house?
of them? Go.
Yep, we should get.
And I said, go. We can't let them breach and take a house by themselves. That's no bueno. If someone enters the house, everybody needs to enter the house.
Okay, go. Don't let them go in alone.
Super dark in here, but
We got the whole thing? Go ahead. Good.
this is me just pulling rear security right out here. They're all deciding order of movement.
Roger.
Do a good job of saying, all right, we're moving. I call out again, last man leaving building. This is us sprinting across right here.
We got friendlies across from us on the street.
So again, friendlies across from us on the street. That's not a horrible call out, but again, you know, friendlies to our right would have been good. Hey, friendlies right side of the, you know, to our right, about 20 meters, whatever. That's not a horrible call out. And in call outs like that, everyone knows you're moving, you know, your right and your left is dependent on the direction that everyone's moving. So obviously, if we're all running towards this house and I call out to the right, you know, it's out to the right. But again, that wouldn't have been a bad thing to say south side of the street.
Hitting that building to our, like, 5 o'clock.
We got 10.
Keep going.
To our right.
Tan over there.
No, doorway. Hallway.
Oh, behind that dead space.
So stuff like this totally happens, man. You don't realize there's dead space, especially with this. So, you know, it's you know, you identify that it's an issue and deal with it. So one mistake here that I'll point out that we didn't do is that door behind us. I meant to come back for that and clear it, but we didn't. We pushed past it because it was closed, and these were open doors. So I'm going to deal with open doors first, and then deal with closed doors afterwards, and we didn't deal with it. So that was also an L-shaped room right there that I was dealing with. So that's why I let Drew take that L-shaped room. Because he pretty much, as soon as I saw wall when I was going in, there was really no reason for me to push in with him on that L shape. Yeah. So definitely not a bad room clear there, not perfect. But I will say, even though it's not on film, we didn't go. I don't believe we went back or anyone dealt with that room that had the door closed, and that's a no-no.
Man. Okay.
So now this is us crossing. I believe crossing over to this house now.
All right, Drew, give me cover. I'm about to bump up. Good shit. We're closing on them. It's up to you. Your call. You want us to go in?
No, we got a team ahead of us.
Okay, cool. We're just letting them support by or recon by fire.
Yep. We got a lot of tin to our left in these bushes.
Are they in play?
Well, they're walking back to their fob. All these.
Okay, so we end up pushing through that, and GoPro footage starts again with me over at this gate. So we ended up pushing to here. We hung out at this house for a little while where people were taking casualties, but there were so many people there that we just said, hey, we need to go somewhere where we're needed. So once we moved up to here, We kind of hung out with them for a little while. They had somebody die in the middle of the street, so we said, hey, I tell you what, pop smoke, and my team will one by one sprint across to get to here, and that'll cause them to have multiple targets to worry about. Maybe you can med your guy. So that's where we start moving over this way. Our objective was maybe push towards the market.
On this one?
So actually, this spot serves as a really good lesson. We moved over here and we hit this wall and we went around the backside. But there were actually all sorts of enemies like up on the roofs here, and so they were just waiting for people to walk within range and start engaging them. So we decided to fall back. That is a total airsoftism. That stuff only happens in airsoft. You can see them up there. So we'd be in real life, we'd be getting engaged, and we probably would have had to sprint to that corner or fall back.
We can go back if we want. Yeah, let's fall back to this courtyard where those friendlies were. Friendlies coming in. Green, green, green.
Yeah, they've reached the next courtyard, so.
Next courtyard, like over here or in there?
One right here.
Okay, cool. We'll help you guys out here. Do you got enough dudes, or are you good with us? What?
They're shooting over the walls also.
Okay, cool. Hey, we're gonna hold this house.
Notice every time that I walk in, this is another thing too, is every time I walk into a position or like we go somewhere, I try and link up with somebody that's been in that position before me. And just say, hey, what have you been seeing? What's been going on? That helps you develop an idea of what's going on and where the enemy's at, like get a frontline trace, because we don't have ISR, we don't have, there's nobody guiding us from above. So you really have to be independent and guide yourself on that stuff. So that's why I'm doing that every single time, is to develop an idea of where the enemy's at.
There's no.
Nothing over there?
There is no out of here.
Oh, okay. It's a secured area? Okay. Okay, any holes in the wall?
I'm trying to look for fighting positions and stuff, seeing if this is a good place to fight from.
Take my eyes off it. That's an official.
Christian's picking them up. Okay, cool.
So we moved back into this building here, and this is me now holding this angle. I'm looking for dudes out in this field, possibly. We still had friendlies in this building, so just trying to find angles that we can be helpful. There wasn't much going on with here. We were kind of shut off from being able to move over here because they would just engage us from the market. So we ended up kind of
to move up this left side to the street.
Again, this call out kind of seems like we might be okay to move up this left side. I was thinking as we approached it, right? So our approach was we came from here. So if that was the case, obviously left side would be good towards the street. But again, what would have been the better thing to say is, hey, east side of the compound. I think we could probably keep pushing east across the road to the building over east. And then have someone, if they don't understand that, that's a start for a better, call out. Hey, you come to the west side of the compound. I'm northwest side of the compound. Come, I'll put eyes on it or whatever. So, just getting a little bit better with the cardinal directions is important.
Hey,
I'm just rusty on
I
it.
haven't seen any movement yet. So if you want to try and take that corner, I can try and watch your left.
Okay. Yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah, I got you. I'm going to watch it just off to your left a little bit.
Yeah, the window, is that where you're watching?
So again, this communication, this wasn't our dude's like, oh, the window, is that what you're watching? No, I'm watching all of this, man. I'm watching all this area over here trying to cover you from the left because we have friendlies over here. So, it's just kind of those, sometimes people think communication is over communication. Good communication is simple, concise, to the point. Hey man, I got your general left, right? I'm watching your left.
Yeah, window to the left. Yeah, that window and a little bit more to the left. Hey Drew, we have friendlies on the front side of our compound now. They're pieing the corner to the street.
Okay, so the pie in the corner to the street thing was not bad, but front side of the compound, again, that just wasn't a very good call out. What would have been a lot better is, hey, we have friendlies on moving along the north wall of the compound. They're pieing around kind of the trying to cross the street and go over to the east side of the street. Would have been a better way to call it out.
I think that's
Hey, sometimes bad call-outs happen though, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like it just is what it is.
Our next avenue of approach. If we take that corner building, we might be in good shape.
Again, so all these call-outs are not very, very good. What should have happened there is, hey, I want to take this building to our east across Chola Street. Building to our directly east Chola Street. That would have been a much better, concise call-out.
You stay on that wall. I'm going to push outside. Give me one guy out the back. This left wall is a good push now.
So now right there, that's not a horrible call out. Now that I'm looking at someone, I say, hey, this left wall is not a bad push. Lets them know where we're going. And you're basically sacrificing the time it takes to call out a cardinal direction and think of that to just say, hey, over here to the left, this wall is good,
All right, I'm taking 3 packs out the back.
Yeah, so I radioed up how many people I'm taking, just accountability stuff.
You want to bump across that building, try and take it. Go for it. I got you. Go, go, go.
End up having a guy crawling over the wall right here that I shoot.
Got one.
Got one?
On the wall. Go ahead and cross. Go ahead and cross.
Yeah.
You guys, go ahead.
Ready?
Yep, go.
I step out to try and see more of this angle right here. That's why I did what I did.
Chad, get far side security. I'm going to cross to you. You're good. You're good. We got you guys.
So I start
Hang on, I
to
gotta
like
stand by.
go to cross, and these guys start shooting from behind. So I'm trying to make sure I get their attention.
Hey, Green, let me know when I can cross. Clear, okay,
So
I'm
good call from that guy to say, hey, you're clear, you're clear, move.
Building?
Yeah, they just cleared it.
Okay, go ahead, push in. Yeah, go through the window if you can. Drew, where are you at?
So he called it out that they just cleared it. This is actually Drew right here. We're going to have, I think, some more bad call outs here from me.
Hey, Drew, we're taking this building.
Now, the reason I said this building is because I was making eye contact with him there. I thought he knew which building I was talking about. So, again, this is me saying, hey, Drew, I'm taking the building. Now, for where he's facing, I'd say, hey, Drew, the building to your, like, look to your left. This building, we're taking it. That's another way to do the call out. Or, Drew, look to your east, right? We're taking this building.
You guys can stay there, though. You're in a good position. I killed a guy to the left. Look across the street, Drew.
So that, I'm, like, trying to tell him, like, to your left.
Left side, I killed a dude. No, further left, other side of the street.
So that's not a horrible thing because I'm from his perspective, left side of the street, telling him, you know, kind of over there.
He was crawling over a wall.
The reason I'm telling him that information is because where there's one person, there's usually multiples.
Roger. What's up? Okay.
I end up having a guy right here.
Drew, 50 meters down the way.
So that was a really bad call out. Down the way is not a good call out. Should have been 100 meters down the street, right side of the street.
Roger that. I'm coming. I'm holding this angle right here.
Or west side of the street.
Hey, Drew. Drew, down that alleyway, 12 o'clock, 100 meters. There's a guy in the wall that you're on.
That's a better call out. I remember thinking that on, like, in my head, too. I remember thinking that was a bad call out. I need to make that again.
Guys. Hey, transition. There's guys behind us, left, towards their spawn. Chad, I'm coming in the building.
So I think it was Charles that ended up calling this out, or somebody that was with Charles that ended up calling out dudes now behind us. I was fighting at this corner, and then there was enemies back over here. He said later that as soon as I move up to this window, as soon as I jumped in, there were dudes, like, literally right behind me.
We got guys coming that way.
There's one big mistake. Well, not only a mistake, but something that I did in this that I don't like. Now, I actually see a guy in the window right here, and I literally shoot him, but there's glass. So, the glass got in the way. Now, I decide to retreat into the floor plan because I can tell there's multiple people coming, and I don't want to be stuck in an open area. That front living room right here had multiple windows into it. So there was a window to my back, and I just didn't, it was not a good idea. I was waiting for someone to pie it and shoot me, so. That's me radioing up saying, hey, Drew, over here in this building, we're taking close contact. Under the circumstances, that was a decent call out just because he should kind of generally have known what building I was talking about. So that's why I said in this building, we're taking close contact. I was under a rush. It could have been a more clear call out, but given the circumstances I'm watching and I'm in a close engagement, that was not a horrible call out. I decided to just hold this angle because it's easy to trap. watching out my window, just scanning my window every once in a while just to peek, make sure no one's coming to flank around the window. So I think both those dudes right there, I think I tagged both those guys. I don't know if either of them called their hits. It is what it is. There's definitely no way that I didn't hit that one dude, because he's definitely, I mean, I'll never say never, but yeah, I was under the impression that I killed both those guys. But nobody called hits, so, you know, whatever. So I actually decided to move up to get out of that position to change, because I knew they were going to nade it. That's just like kind of what ends up happening, is they're going to nade it. So if you look right down here, there's actually a grenade. I'm able to duck into cover into the bathroom. Now this is where I made a mistake, where a better move would have either been to go right and fall back into this right room, or into the window that I entered in. But I, you know, in a split second, I made the decision to kind of be a little aggressive and push past. Start using my white light here, hoping that I can do it. I'm actually not 100% positive if this was a ricochet that gets me.
Good shot, man.
If that was a ricochet or not, I don't really know. It bounced off the wall and it felt like it hit me. It tagged me in the shoulder, so it might have been. But I try and be really, really honest with calling my hits, because I think it ruins the game if you don't. Ruins the purpose of what you're doing. And that just was not the smartest move. Like, I don't think tactically that was a really, really good idea. I think I should just either held that in the shadows right there, made him come around that corner, or gone left. But, you know, so anyway, yeah, that's day 2.